Hey everyone, happy Halloween. Was going to use these few hours I have to myself to play some Assassin's Creed Origins, but I decided that I was going to go ahead and make a Halloween's movie video. My wife's at a Halloween event for the library for about an hour and a half, so let's get to this. Now, it's important to note that my wife grew up without a television for quite a while, and she didn't really rent movies till late in her teen years. She was way more of a reader. So she's read more fiction than I ever will. So a lot of this will be old to a lot of you out there, but it was brand new to her. So I have what we've watched, one movie that I watched she didn't, and a small pile of what we're going to watch. We gave ourselves a grace period because her sister came into town, so they went to New Orleans for a little while. So we said, okay, we'll give ourselves a few more days to finish off the pile because there's some classics that two of which we're going to watch tonight, and the rest we're going to watch tomorrow, maybe the day after. And unfortunately, there's some goodies that I don't think she'll watch, and we just didn't get to it on time, that I'll definitely watch, but she will next year, and it's because I got them on sale. So also ignore the cat if she walks in. It's very hot, so the door's open. Yes, it's almost November, and my AC's running because this is Louisiana. So what took up most of our time, well, I did stream a lot, and I don't remember all those movies. The big one was House on Haunted Hill. That is the Netflix original that's getting a lot of press right now. I thought it was pretty good. It's one in the line of kind of drama horrors like Babadook that have been really prominent the last few years. You know, The Witch. They're normally not my style. What's the other one? It Comes at Night. A24 does a lot of them. Not that I mind that they do them. I'm glad someone else is making horror other than Blumhouse because I am not a fan of a lot of their output. I got tired of jump scares back in like '02, but I also don't click with a lot of their movies. But I thought House on Haunted Hill was pretty good. It really spooked to her, so that was fun seeing her. And her sister came in, like I said, and she's even more timid than my wife is at horror movies. And the first episode freaked her out. And it was hilarious because, yeah, to me, ghost movies do nothing for me. They're a fun watch, but, you know, there's to me no tension or apprehension whatsoever. And, oh man, my cat's playing by my Turbo Duo. Get away. Sorry. That's probably not going to be edited because of lack of time. But, so yeah, I watched that. I watched the show Before. It's only 50 minutes long. It was about these people who get stuck in a parking garage, and it wasn't very good. There's another movie, I don't remember the name, that's much better with a similar premise. It's about two groups. One's two guys who get stuck in a stairwell, and one's about a family that gets stuck on a road, and they get stuck there for about 100 years or so. If I can find the title, I'll put it. It did the premise much better. And just an endless amount of horror. I watched the Castlevania series 2. I thought that was a lot of fun. It's just a shame that they cheap out on the animations that aren't fight scene related. If someone's walking, it's very juddery, but suddenly when they're fighting someone, it's super smooth. They must have got a bigger budget because they did 8 episodes instead of the 4 like the first season. Wouldn't mind if Netflix bumped the budget up a bit more so they can get some better animation, you know, in just the slower scenes. Netflix also has Creeped Out, which is a fun kind of youth-oriented show, kind of like Are You Afraid of the Dark? And there's nothing wrong with that. I love a little light horror. We watched a few of those, and those were fun. I really need to get a subscription to Shudder because a lot of what I wanted to watch was unavailable unless I had that. Who is it? Crackle, I think, actually had some surprising movies. No, Vudu, V-U-D-U. They had quite a few horror movies I hadn't heard of, or that aren't available elsewhere that I checked out that were pretty fun. But as to the physical ones, the biggest is Friday the 13th. She has never seen one of these. Well, I introduced her to the series last year, so she watched the first 2 last year. So this year we rewatched the first 2. And then we watched all but Jason Takes Manhattan. So we're going to get to that because she really wants to see the first 8. She surprisingly enjoyed these a lot. We both realized something in that she did try to watch part 5. She tried, no, or is it the final chapter? Must be 5. She tried to watch that when she was 10 or so at a sleepover, and it freaked her out so much she made her friends turn the movie off. But what I'm realizing and what, you know, she noticed as well, how many cutaways there are. especially in the middle ones, you really don't see Jason kill many people. It's always a knife comes up, goes down, and then the person's dead. So that was really, as a child, my brain really filled in a lot of those dots because these aren't nearly as violent as they thought they were. And Jason is not in more than I remember. He's of course, he's not in the first one. He doesn't have the hockey mask in the second one. He gets it in the third one. But then is it the fourth one? He's not in it. And then he pops back in 5, I think. But I didn't remember that he wasn't in one of the later ones. By far, my favorite was let's see, 6. I think it was 6. Not the one with the girl that has what do you call it? Like telekinetic powers. Maybe it's 5. 5 or 6 I really enjoyed. But yeah, Jason Takes Manhattan. I remember it being kind of a dud. I also want to get her to see Freddy versus Jason 10 and Jason Goes to Hell. Those are Jason Goes to Hell and Jason 10 for some reason are kind of hard to find on Blu-ray. That set I bought for $20 a few months back was sold out, but I'm sure if you go back, next month they'll be back for $20. Same thing happened. I wanted to get a Nightmare on Elm Street set because she hadn't seen those and it sold out. It's not too bad, about $37 though. But one thing we did watch is the 4K transfer of Halloween. And this was a lot of fun. One of my favorite horror movies. It really stands up. It's surprising how modern it looks, especially when it's cleaned up. The grain really dates a lot of these movies, but when you take the grain away, in some cases it takes away from the atmosphere, but in the other, you really notice that it's aside from that really hairstyles and some of the fashion, because some of the fashion doesn't look too dated. It's mainly the hairstyles and the cars, because a lot of the houses are still in the neighborhood if you use Google Maps. Yeah, it looks pretty contemporary, and the transfer is really good. And I could tell how much better the transfer was because I picked up the new Steelbook Halloween 2. I did not own this. And it has a clip of the first movie on this, and this is Blu-ray. And you see how much Blu-ray cleaned it up, but you see how much more polished it is on the 4K transfer. A number of people like this one. I thought it was okay. Some silly parts, like it takes place mainly in a hospital, and that is one empty hospital. You start watching it and going, there should be way more people here, but instead there's like 7, and that's it. But I remember they cranked this one out pretty fast. It was after this that John Carpenter kind of said, until the most recent one, he was done. But it was a fun sequel. I do like to watch H2O after this one, and that's my first trilogy, and let's keep that in mind. That's mainly because I forgot the middle ones, and we'll get to that in a second. But this was a really nice transfer. It's a fun steelbook. I did not get the lithograph with this. It was sold out. I had to get this on Amazon. And it also comes, I thought this was pretty fun, the theatrical cut and the television cut, because a number of the murders were censored for TV, but they also added a number of story elements, and they make way more sense. There's one scene where the lights are almost all out, and they don't explain it. And the TV version, they explain that the lights have gone out and the generator kicks on, so that's why there's only some lights, but not all of them. And I thought that was very helpful. They took that out of the theatrical one. But on the theatrical release, you can see the deleted scenes, which are the TV scenes. So if you don't want to watch the TV version, you can just go to the deleted scenes after the theatrical. Unfortunately, it did come with a little bend in it. These are very delicate, it turns out. And what the first movie we actually started off with was Halloween 6, the producer's cut. I had not seen the producer's cut. I've read some people say it's way better than the original. Other people say it's they prefer the original. But I will say this: Paul Rudd is the goofiest fucker in this movie. I don't know how he got a career after this. I've read he actually filmed this first, and then Clueless came out after. But until very recently, he was apparently embarrassed by this movie. And in some interviews for the first Ant-Man, I believe, he came around and said, I'm proud to be a part of the franchise. It just wasn't what I expected, but I'm glad I did it. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of good people. But I can't speak for the theatrical cut. For the producer's cut, it's like some of these are first takes. Paul Rudd at one point gets out of this Jeep and it looks like a silent film because he's overacting so much. Instead of just looking left or right, he moves his whole body left or right like a cat burglar, like dun dun. And I had to stop because I was laughing so hard, and I couldn't believe it. And my wife made me rewind it because it's so bad. And hopefully that's not in the theatrical one, because it's like, what the hell are you doing, Paul? Tone it down. But I know Bracy from Retro Snow posted on Facebook that he loves the cheese factor in this. And I will say, what is important and what makes this very interesting is this is a pre-Scream horror movie. And Scream really changed horror in a direction I wasn't a fan of, even though it was kind of running out of steam at that point. But this is one of the very last big pre-Steam Scream, keep saying Steam, horror movies. And that's important because a lot of like the Screamisms aren't here. So there's not as many winks and nods, and they're not being ironic. It's just a horror movie set in the mid to late 90s, which is, that's actually a lot of fun for me. It's very nostalgic. But this is very goofy. This is going to be watched tonight, and we've been streaming this, but Scream Factory released a new version of Trick or Treat, which I am super excited for. This includes the original short that got the film made. The same director made Krampus, and I fucking hated that movie. I thought it was one of the most boring movies I've ever seen. I was shocked he made that. But Trick or Treat to me is a classic. It's an anthology. The wraparound involves Sam, this little guy, going around and killing people, or one person in particular. But what's so well done about it is all the stories are intertwined. Characters appear. You might see them walking in the background, and suddenly the next sequence is their story. And in their story, you'll see the first story taking place in the background. It's just very well done. It's a lot of fun. People talk about it a lot, and with very good reason. I love it. The movie I saw, my wife didn't, which I really regret buying, is The Booth. This. I'm not going to say it's garbage, but this is very early 2000 horror, and this came out in 2006. Maybe that's just when Tartan released it, and it came out in theaters earlier, because the premise is great. It's about a haunted recording studio, and there's a disc jockey, and they're upgrading their facilities, and while they're doing that, he's got to spend a night recording in a booth where someone killed themselves in the 60s, and he starts getting these creepy phone calls. It turns out, though, it's incredibly boring, very, very formulaic, and I'm immediately giving this away to the library. I do not want to keep this. It was $1.25. I spent $4 in shipping, so more to ship it than to buy it. And yeah, not fun. Someone on YouTube talked about this and semi-recommended it, and no one streams it. And yeah, just don't bother. It's not good. The ones that didn't make it in time because it was from a sale that I'm going to go ahead and watch. My wife won't, though. Is Army of Darkness, The Prince of Darkness, one of my favorite John Carpenter films. Especially with that video sequence where they're talking from the future and it's all grainy. It looks awesome. My favorite, or tied with the Night of the Living Dead, is Day of the Dead. I love this cover. Bub. This was me and my brother's one of our favorite movies growing up. I just got this one in today. Tourist Trap. I've seen it a few times. It's very effective for being kind of cheesy. Well, very cheesy from the 70s, but I don't know why it really holds up. The mask and stuff are creepy. The effects are still well done, even though it sometimes just looks like someone is throwing the object. It's still very well placed sequences, and still, like I said, pretty effective. Now, these are the ones we're definitely going to watch over the next few days, because some of these we watch every year. In particular, The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. My wife loves this movie. It's one of her favorite, one of mine as well. You can see it's bent here. Don't ever loan things to friends because they'll send it back messed up. So thanks a lot to her friend that did that. But yeah, absolutely love The Thing. Keith David, legend in my mind. I watched Tales from the Hood too and sat through all of it just for Keith David. Just for him. And of course, Russell, I was going to say Russell Crowe. What am I talking about? Kurt Russell is awesome in this. I picked up these two Oh wait, I'll go to another one. We always watch this every season as well, so we're definitely going to go and watch Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. There's at least 3 episodes in particular that I have to watch, and she wants to watch them too. One is when some zombies come back, and it's Richard Ayoade shooting a shotgun about 50 times. Well, about 20 times. There's another one where they talked about Liz vanishing, and they allude to the fact that they've had her killed. And of course, there's also where Sanchez sings, was it Single Lover? So this is I wish someone in the U.S. would release this, because it's got everything. The stories are actually fun that they're filming. The interviews are hilarious. Like, even the special effects crack me up. They should pay you a hero's wage. These two, I have completely forgotten what goes on in them, and my wife had never seen them, of course. So I picked up Halloween 4 and 5 really cheap. So we're going to check those out. She kind of wants to complete the, because of, where's it at? Oh, Halloween 3, we're definitely going to watch this. This came as a new steelbook as well. It is one of my favorite movies, and she loves it. I'm so glad she loves this too. It's just so weird and out there that people made fun of it, but now it's kind of come around as a bit of a classic, and definitely is to me. I bought the soundtrack to this bad boy. I'll show that on a pickups video. Man, I love this movie. So after watching 1 and 2, we're going to watch 3, and she's seen 3. She wants to see 4 and 5. She saw H2O with me. I told her not to watch Resurrection, and so I think that's all of them, except for the Rob Zombie ones, which I hate, and we won't watch those, and the newest one, which we'll rent when it comes out. And lastly, I don't know if I'll get her to watch this with me, but I'm definitely going to watch that, and that's Scream Factory's Creepshow. This is the George Romero Stephen King collaboration. It comes with, I think, an art book right here, done in a ECW comic style format. Creepshow 2 is also really good. But what was funny is, if you've seen the Raft story, you know, this woman's passed out and this guy's fondling her. And I never thought, as a kid growing up, I watched it, never thought anything about it. And my wife started going, is he molesting her? And I was going, wait, oh my God. Yes, he is. She's asleep and he's fondling her. And just took a weird turn very quickly. But it's one of those things where you just think, man, it's the 80s. I mean, that skit starts with them driving, I think, with a Firebird, smoking weed, and this guy's calling his friend Poncho. I'm like, you're just going to be in for that kind of time. This one's actually quite different. It's got Ted Danson in one. Leslie Nielsen's in this. Stephen King is actually a farmer in one episode that comes in. I think I might prefer the second one. I really like the Hitchhiker one storyline, but this is also really fun. So, and it's a great cover too. Apparently you could have got a poster with this if you got it early enough, and that would have been, you know what, that would have been one for the walls. But those are what we're going to watch and what we have watched. I hope everyone has a safe and happy Halloween. I always see videos of people who are like, comment below, let me know. But I am genuinely interested in what people are into and what you watch for Halloween. Like, some of my other favorites that I'm not going to get around to watching during Halloween, but I will just for fun, is Hellraiser 1 and 2, absolute classics. Event Horizon, In the Mouth of Madness. My wife won't watch that one. She's too scared of it. But again, you got John Carpenter and Sam Neill, who also in Event Horizon is the man. He's my white Keith David when it comes to horror. I'll watch anything they're in. What else? A bunch of sci-fi shorts with horror elements. I've been watching those. One Step Beyond, X-1, some radio programs. Plague in Peoria, the radio classic. If I remember, I'll put a link to that below. It's about a zombie outbreak. It's from the 70s. It's super effective. Absolutely love that. I listened to that one quite a bit. Get off. And let's see. Yeah, I think that touches about what all I'm going to finish up for the year, this season with, before we move on to our kind of Christmas movies, which we start off with Long Kiss Goodnight and Die Hard as this combo set, and they work really well together. So I'm going to cram in some horror. Thanks for watching. Didn't really play too many horror games. None, actually. I will play Until Dawn, though. I'm determined to get that in. But this has gone on for right under 20 minutes. Please let me know what you enjoy for horror. Any style of horror. I don't care. Even if you loved Babadook, let me know. Because I will check out any horror movie people tell me about. Bloodbath and Beyond is a great horror channel, and I've seen so far 99% of what they review. I'm desperately in need of new movies to watch. But thank you for watching, and I will talk to everyone later.